A Vignette in the Life of a Family, subtitled The War is Over. If you knew my father, you could probably appreciate the story more. He and his bride, my mother, migrated here from Italy in the early 1900s. Although he had a deep pride in his Italian heritage, he was also a deeply patriotic American, to the point of being chauvinistic. The first election cycle following his nationalization, he registered to vote. In the ensuing years, when women gained suffrage, my mother was known to be the first woman in town to cast a vote. This in a town that was well populated with long-standing Yankee families. Showing civic pride and responsibility, they voted together in every local, state, and federal primary election until the dictates of age and health problems decided otherwise. Although my father never ran for public office, he believed in participation and was active and campaigned to support worthy candidates. This I enjoyed because it generally involved rallies with men who gather cars and then we'd drive all over town, blowing horns and holding flares out the windows and shouting for our candidates. His pride in being American extended to our family life. At that time, immigrant families and parents traded languages with their children. However, one day, the family of a friend of my father moved into the neighborhood. They had about 5 or 6 children, some of them teenagers, and long-time residents. Not one of them could speak English. This so infuriated my father that from that day forward, in our family, only English was spoken to and by the children. In his broken English, my father would say, "We're Americans." Such was his patriotism. My parents conversed with each other in both languages. However, I wasn't a part of the family that did not get the benefit of learning a second language. Concurrent with his deep pride in his Italian heritage, he was, as I have mentioned, a deeply patriotic American. He flew the flag every holiday, and God help us if, when taking it down, we let it touch the floor. When I returned from the service and showed him how the flag is folded, well, that became de rigueur. And don't let it touch the floor. During World War II, 2 of my brothers and I, as well as an uncle who was brought up by my parents, were in the service. Although my mother was apprehensive, my father felt a deep, quiet pride that we were serving in America. In fact, an open pride. One brother served in the Army Engineers in the CBI, China, Burma, India Theater. My other brother served in the Navy Seabees in Alaska, and my uncle was a Judge Advocate General in Europe. And I served in the Navy in the Amphibs on an LST, was a landing ship tank in the Pacific. I was the last one home suffering the aggravation of the point discharge system, having changed just prior to my scheduled discharge. The Japanese surrendered on August 15, 1945, but I did not muster out until May of 1946. One night, shortly after my return, there was a great family party. All of the immediate family and in-laws were gathered, about 20 of us. Soon the word was passed around for all go down to the canteen in the cellar. The canteen was a room with concrete walls where my father stored his homemade wine. The wine was in barrels stored in a rack along one wall. The opposite wall were shelves lined with home-preserved fruits, sauces, piccalilli, which is a green tomato relish, strings of sausages, and a single light bulb dimly lit the crowded room. My father shushed us all for the main event. In the far corner of that room, he had built, unbeknownst to me and my brothers, a concrete vault about 2 feet cubed. He had a sledgehammer and struck the first blow, and each of us, my brothers, uncle, and I, took turns in unlocking the vault. In it, buried in sand, was a small keg containing his wine. My father tapped the keg, and each of us had a water glass of a beautiful, clear, ruby-colored wine. And there in the dim light, with the wine barrels, preserves, and sausages, and the joviality subdued in a murmur, we toasted our safe return. I looked up, and there was my father, with a look of pride and contentment. And my mother with a look of relief, both with eyes slightly moist. I thought to myself, yes, at last the war is over. I'm sorry.
Well, it does bring back from your heart. It brings back the picture of your family and your mother and your father and the times.
And you draw that picture so well for the rest of us.
I got away from simple declarative sentences.
You did. There's some beautiful writing in there.